I find it so fascinating how the internet has made it seem as though women only have a select few ways of making money, namely working a soulless 9 to 5, marrying rich, selling your socks, feet, panani on the internet, or becoming a walking billboard as an influencer. There's definitely another option that's not as talked about or sexy, but it should be. Let's roll the tape.
I am a marketing consultant. I think I have like considered doing other things because like sometimes you find yourself like you want to get money and you just want to figure out what's the best thing to do. But I never considered anything that would compromise my values because I'm big on that. So I never like gave much thought to like those kinds of things.
As a freelancer, I'm a creative strategist and copywriter, which basically entails that I do research and copywriting ad scripts, D2C brands. The only thing that I think I got to consider weird, like way to make money online is probably cryptocurrency. I don't know, when it was like such a big deal a few years ago, I definitely like jumped on that wagon and thought that was a viable way to make money. And I didn't know what I was doing and I lost literally hundreds. So
I do ad creative strategy and a bit of copywriting for email. I saw one girl say that she was making $70 an hour doing some weird stuff. And I'm just thinking like I make the same amount and I don't have to sell my soul,
These are real women in their early, mid to late 20s, earning a living where their work doesn't revolve around their life, but the other way around. Before I get into the fun stuff, let's talk a little bit about how work has evolved in human history. Prior to work as we know it today, the real corporate world, work was directly tied to your labor, and you could see as a human the fruits of your labor. You could plant a seed and let's say see the tomatoes, right? Work as we know it today is, for a lack of better words, unnatural, right? Back in the day, it was tied to survival, so food, water, shelter, community, for example, bartering, caregiving, trade, and even spiritual and communal ritual work, etc. All the things that they had going on back then, right? And then the Industrial Revolution came and there was factories and more repetitive jobs. And then the 1950s, we have the corporate world as we know it today, where most notably behind a laptop, tapping away, doing something where a lot of times you're just kind of like employee 1 out of 500, 1,000, whatever, and you don't really get to see the direct fruits of your labor. I find this really interesting because I've personally never worked a 9 to 5. I've been listening to a lot of Gen Zs share their story working a 9 to 5 or getting their dream job on YouTube, where they're doctors, lawyers, or in some other field, and I find a common thread is that they don't feel fulfillment from their work, even if they're a doctor, for example, a lot of times because the work they do or the effort that they put in often goes unseen because they're just kind of another person in the building kind of thing, which started to get me thinking about my career and why freelancing has been such a powerful, not just way to make money for me, but a tool for self-fulfillment and development, right? I am absolutely not under the belief that every 9 to 5 is soul crushing. However, when I started to listen to my friends and listen to these videos on the internet and see the discourse around 9 to 5, it got me thinking how humans really crave meaning, right? In order to feel that zest for life, you need to feel like you're working towards something. And if you're just put into a company doing things, one, that you feel is meaningless, or if you even are smarter and are likely need to be doing something that gets your brain going more, or you're doing something where you're putting in a lot of effort and it does match your intellect, but you're not being seen, you're not being validated for what you do, I could imagine why that begins to chip away at your soul, right? Work today in the traditional sense feels off because you feel less impact overall. In my opinion, as someone who's never worked a traditional corporate 9 to 5 job, freelancing brings you closer to seeing that direct output. I guess it would be similar to working a 9 to 5 at a startup that's very small and you're directly working with the founder and you can see yourself literally building the business. That's exactly how freelancing feels for the most part. So I didn't start freelancing because I wanted to be a quote girl boss. Absolutely not. When I was always actually very 9 to 5 corporate minded, and anybody who knew of me in high school or university is probably really surprised with my trajectory. I just honestly couldn't get a job and didn't like the jobs that I was seeing online. I was reading more philosophy, I was reading my Bible more, and I was getting very in tune with myself. And none of the jobs I saw or the paths that were being presented to me felt like, yes, this is what I want to do. So I followed that feeling, and eventually that led me to freelancing, and I just stayed the path. I also knew that I was very disciplined and I wanted to make enough money so I didn't have to budget every second of my life, pay off my student debt, and maybe even have the opportunity to travel and work at the same time. I didn't really know how it was possible, but thankfully TikTok was blowing up then, and I started to visually see people do exactly what I wanted, posting their freelance careers or their businesses. And I thought, okay, I'm disciplined. If I work a 9 to 5, my income has a ceiling, but if I work for myself, then I could see my income would be capped based on my own potential and effort that I put into it. So that's the short of it. And for me, selling my body on OF was definitely not an option, not only because it's not something I was comfortable with, but even if it was, my parents would literally kill me. So, and I bring this up and I allude to it in the title because I see so much content around this these days. I feel like it's being presented to women as an effortless way to make more for your time, but there's so many other options. And as a young woman, I was very impressionable and could have easily fallen into this path that I think is worse for the soul than a 9 to 5, if I'm being really honest. And before I got into freelancing services, for example, copywriting, right now I mainly do paid social, so paid advertisements. But before that, I actually tried drop shipping and print on demand. That worked out pretty well for me. But if I'm being really honest, it felt a little bit icky to me. And at the end of the day, business is business, but selling people cheap products from China that were genuinely cheap that I didn't have any input into felt meaningless to me, which I think really ties into the theme of this video. Obviously, most businesses buy their products from China, but the good ones have a hand in how it's designed, how it's made, and how it's presented and the problems it's solving. Whereas when you're drop shipping, you don't have a hand in it. And for me, having that connection to it, to the way that I was earning money, was really important. I didn't realize all those things now, but I'm glad that I was very in tune with myself and followed the path. Again, I'm so thankful for social media and TikTok because I didn't grow up around entrepreneurs. My dad is an entrepreneur, but he has a contracting construction business. So the kind of freelance work that I do on the internet, very, very different. And while he was an entrepreneur, I didn't really see him as that. Now I can respect what he does a lot more and I can see, the entrepreneur spirit in him. But growing up, it was just like, that's his job kind of thing. But my first project as a freelancer opened my eyes enough and gave me enough momentum to keep pushing. And in my opinion, freelancing is one of the best ways to go about making money online because you have to gain a primary skill or stack of skills to sell, and then no one can take that skill stack away from you. It gives you autonomy over your hours, obviously over your income, and more directly tied to what I was mentioning at the beginning, your energy and how you use your energy. Freelancing also allows you to schedule your life around your cycle. That's a big one for me because I never worked a 9 to 5. Whenever I'm on my period, I just wake up when I feel like it, no alarm, and get my work done around the times when it eases down. And that has been really valuable for me. And also the way that I plan my work and my meetings. For example, this YouTube video, I'm filming it during my good 2 weeks, right? And I go hard usually in these 2 weeks with my clients and the workload that I take on. And then later on in the month, I let it ease because I know that I'm just gonna not have that energy. And your cycle plays such a big role in your life as a woman. Freelancing has truly allowed me to live a life that honors who I am emotionally and physically. And listen, I don't think everybody needs to be a freelancer, but I do think that every woman should know how to freelance. I think it's just a good backup plan. Right now, I see people lose their job and it takes them 6 months, a year to get a job when they have skill sets that they could easily sell to clients, right? If you work in marketing at an agency or a big company and lose your job, there are millions of businesses out there who definitely need your services. You could sell them on a monthly retainer for a minimum of $2,500 a month from the work that you already know how to do. If you're a beginner, you can easily teach yourself. I'm fully self-taught. I had a journalism degree. I learned direct response marketing on my own through YouTube and then just finding clients who would pay me to learn. It sounds insane if you're not immersed in this world, but once you're immersed in this world, you realize how much opportunity there is. Because now, after only around 4 years of freelancing, I have clients reaching out to me and agencies trying to poach me every single day because I've been in the trenches building up my skill stack. And not only have I built a multi-6-figure freelance business and created this life for myself, I also help dozens of women do the same.
Gave me the confidence to say my rates. So the other day, I closed a deal for 5K and what I put forward was 5.5K a month. And even saying that number to me before, she freelancers would have been just like so foreign to me. And I would have just thought, I would have been like kind of like in a 9 to 5 mindset, where it's like, no, like that's too much money for a month, blah, blah, blah. But putting that forward really just helped me kind of get those reps in, saying those high numbers and realizing that that is what I'm worth. I also felt validated because I am someone who likes to work a lot. Not necessarily like always client work, but then just like personal branding, education, etc. And I think outside of that, I would have felt a bit weird because not a lot of my friends were kind of like doing that same thing. But since joining She Freelancers, I feel like I have more people that I can relate to and who do have the same work ethic.
I literally feel like Kanye West because since using She Freelancers, my work is on another level. I sent my client my work yesterday. She was like, oh, this is so amazing, Aisha. Yeah, keep up the great work. I'm like, stop. Like, my head is so big.
I think what you're doing is amazing to help people kind of like be the catalyst for that mental shift that we need to make, because that's like what you teach. That's what it comes down to, like shifting mentally and having these beliefs that we could do this. Like, I can do this. I could put myself out there and like get skills that people want, that people need, and know how to position myself to get opportunities that pay me for the life that I want. Like, you have been very instrumental in reminding us of that and coaching us in the things that are a bit nuanced that you wouldn't really get anywhere else.
And if you're a little bit curious on how a freelancing offer is created or looks like, I have a link in the description. It's a 60-minute bingeable course that walks you through the exact process. But before you click, understand that it's not soft life and vibes, this whole building a freelance business, or even understanding the skill set and keeping it in your back pocket. You gotta work. Work in the literal sense, not the corporate idea we have, but work, putting physical or mental effort towards something is not inherently evil. It's how we create meaning as humans. We as humans need purpose, not just pleasure. If you've ever gone down the hedonism route, drinking, smoking, fulfilling your sexual desires constantly, you quickly find out that that in and of itself will just chip away at your soul. Doing meaningful, quote, work in the literal definition gives you purpose, gives you that will and zest for life. And oftentimes the reason you crave chaos in the quiet times is because your brain was built for a challenge, but a challenge that aligns with who you are as a person, with your unique DNA. And freelancing allows you to create that meaning in a way that fits directly with your unique DNA or the things that you've always had a gravitational pull to. Writing, capturing attention, design, philosophy, beauty, just a mix of things. I'm able to combine all of that with the clients that I choose to work with as a freelancer. So listen, this isn't about shaming anyone for what they do, whether you work a 9 to 5 or you choose to sell feet pics on the internet, but it is about giving women a different lens. And just like we had that shift in the Industrial Revolution, even the CEO of LinkedIn has talked about how he forecasts that the future of work is some sort of freelancing, whether that's people just waking up, choosing a job, getting it done, and going about their day, or in the more specialized freelancing manner, how I freelance and how I teach the women that I work with to freelance. The way that I recommend women freelance is not just picking a skill. Oh, I want to be a copywriter. I want to do styling. I want to do graphic design. I want to do XYZ, but rather thinking of all of their experiences that make them uniquely them. And then how can you pair that together in an industry that desperately needs you? I talk about this more in the link in the description that I mentioned, but really what it comes down to is if you're trying to make money, some aspects of your job you won't 100% be fully in love with, but 80%, 70%, 60% of it can be that fulfilling aspect where you're able to get into that flow state. And for me, the flow state is often a big determining factor. Am I able to wake up and feel super, super excited to get this work done? Do I have the urge to procrastinate? And when I do get into that work, do I feel that sense of flow where I don't want to stop and my body is literally so sore because I'm in an awkward position, but I don't want to move or go to the bathroom or do anything because I'm just so obsessed with what I'm doing right now? That is a determining factor. I can confidently say that that is how the majority of my work days feel as a freelancer. And that has come over time. So now my goal is to share it with other women because I think it's a powerful tool that you can use that allows you to really look inwards, and building your freelance career will also build you up as a woman. Freelancing isn't that sexy on the internet. I'm trying to make it sexy. I'm trying to give it a comeback. I'm trying to give it a rebrand, let's say, because in my opinion, being obsessed with the life that you've intricately curated for yourself is a pretty reasonable alternative to selling feet pics, and it will also help you go get paid. Bye.